It's been a year since the A50 was launched, and there's a plethora of other smartphones in the market now, but well, that's why we need to talk. So, in this video, we'll be covering up to see if whether the Samsung A50 is still a viable choice even in 2020 March for any budget consumer out there. We have a lot to talk about, but let's start with the software and specification forefront because I think it's one of the main pillars to any smartphone. Now, to say the least, here are a few features. It comes with an Exynos 610 chipset, an AMOLED Full HD display, a triple camera setup, an in-display fingerprint scanner, a 25 MP front camera, an Adreno GPU, and whatnot. This phone is really feature packed, and I would say that on a strong note, that's because of the Samsung's re-entry into the budget segment last year. A30, A50 and A70 were three particular phones launched in different price segments to cover up the masses and get a good hold of the budget segment for Samsung. Samsung was keen on making sure that the hardware was really good, and I think it's a huge kudos to them that it still works even in 2020 because of that decision right there. There are other phones right now such as the M30, etc., etc., but this phone started all of it. Now, in this specification segment, I've also included software as a piece because I think mainly the integration of software and hardware has made the performance of A50 really great. The phone runs on Android 10 and One UI 2, as you can see, and it came with the older versions of these. And to say the least, I've got constant security patches, software updates, and that's good. Now, on a day-to-day usage, I'm a hardcore user, and it's been really good. The coordination between the battery performance, hardware performance, and the One UI itself is what makes this phone really smooth to use on a daily basis. The A50 is really good even now when compared to other chipsets. That is mainly the 720G, which is being used in most of the budget segments phones right now, and it's pretty good. Not even pretty good, it's really great. So on the specification forefront, I give my word that you wouldn't have any problem even if you buy this phone right now in 2020. Now, the next thing to talk about in any phone is the gimmicks or the type of things which would attract anybody to buy the phone. Here's a few that I can list out, but there's a lot in this phone, and it starts with the in-display fingerprint scanner. Now, the in-display fingerprint scanner in this thing is really good. It's not really fast like the normal fingerprint scanners you would get, but it's a gimmick. You can show it off, it's good, and it's pretty fast. Not really fast, but fast. The next thing is the AMOLED display. It's a Full HD AMOLED display panel, and even though it has a chin on the bottom and the dew droplet notch on the top, the screen to body ratio is really high. There's deep blacks and a high contrast ratio, and watching videos or any type of shows on this phone is really a bliss. And that's why I love this phone. And well, the back panel. It's a plastic one which looks like glass and attracts a lot of fingerprints, but the color hue is good and the black unit is also good, but then it's still a disadvantage which needs to be covered with a case or so. The cameras on this phone, it's really great, and that's the next thing we're going to talk about. The front houses a 25 unit camera which can do both wide angle and normal photos. The back houses three cameras, which where the primary one is a 25 MP camera by Sony, the second one is an 8 MP camera which can do wide angle, and the third one is the depth sensing 5 MP unit. Now the phone comes with proper software, and even after the One UI 2 update, the software of the camera is really good. It has normal features such as panorama, time lapse, super slow-mo, etc. And it also has a specific night mode created by Samsung, and often the results produced is quite astounding. It can be compared to that of Gcam, and I really did like how this worked. Video recording doesn't go up to full 4K, but somewhere below it, and I personally feel like it should get a 4K video recording update or something like that. The another thing is there where you can access the full potential of the 25 MP camera, and that's by this particular mode. It has better clarity, and it actually has a huge file size than the normal photos taken. It's not a default, you have to choose it, but it can be used for special occasions for like a proper photo of something you need to take, and it can also be used full for the post-production process. Now here are some examples. The normal photo which I've taken here, where the buildings is the focus, has proper HDR, proper contrast and whatever it needs to be. The second one is the wide angle of the same space, but it has less amount of saturation. Here the saturation and also the contrast has been gone down, and one thing I can say about the wide angles is that It's true, the wide angle has less contrast and saturation. Portraits can be taken on animals too, and normal photos also turn out really well even in cloudy situations. And indoor photos also have good amount of clarity and high dynamic range. Now the focus of the image gives better clarity, and in 25 MP modes such as this, there's even better results. Night mode is really great, as I told you, and here's such an example of that. And another example where it's pitch darkness and nothing else but the night mode helping me to take this picture. Now, as I told, the camera is really good, but still it has issues with the contrast and saturation, but it simply can be done or made proper with post-production editing. Now, to sum all of this up, the performance of the battery, the performance of the software, the hardware, the camera, altogether makes the A50 a good deal, like a proper deal for the price segment it is in right now. Back then, it would have been a skeptical thing for anyone to think about, but now it's actually good. And here's why. The 4GB model comes at around 13,000 or 14,000, and it's a pretty good haul if you actually see to it. Proper camera and everything, as I told now. But the second model is priced at around 18,000, and this is your go because there are other phones which can actually give better performance or even features than this. So it's personally your call for this model of the phone. But on a whole, this phone is one hell of a deal under the 15K price segment. Great cameras, great performance, and if you need these two, I can give you my word that this phone can do wonders. I basically wanted to bring out the fact that A50 is still a good phone in 2020 and you guys can give it a shot. So I've done my part, and if you want, you can go check this phone out. Until then, till the next video, this is Sudeep signing out. Peace out.